Hey guys, welcome back. This is ChosenArchitect, and today we are going to be touching just a little bit of Draconic evolution and seeing what it's going to take to progress further. So, I hope you guys are ready. So right off the bat, many of you guys wanted to see this beautiful guy that we have here from Pneumaticraft. Before we kind of leave Pneumaticraft where it's at and kind of move on, you guys wanted to see this bad boy. Oh yeah. This is the minigun, and it sort of works just like this. Just like you would expect, like a minigun. Now, to access its inventory, shift right click and you can throw ammo in here. And ammo is made pretty simple, just like this. You can, however, add potion effects to your ammo cartridges, and it will give it the specified effect. So if you want to put weakness on here, that would be great, because then you could put weakness and it'll give the mobs weakness, thus making the damage a lot higher on the output. Now, there are a couple upgrades that I would probably recommend, and that's the entity tracker upgrade. Probably be the one of the best to do. And it's actually not that expensive to make the entity tracker upgrade. Let's see, we're going to need fermented spider eye. Very simple. And voila. And what we can do is, when we put this into the charging station, we'll see this manage upgrades for the minigun. We can put that inside here, and that's going into the minigun. And when we take this out, it should be a little bit easier to take out mobs. There we go. As you can see, it doesn't take too much to do this. Now, is this gun practical? I don't know. It may have its uses. You guys might love this thing. There's also a couple of other things. There's an air cannon as well that is in here that also works very similar to how this thing works, except for this sort of pushes mobs away. And I believe it can also, yeah, let's see. Yeah, it can repel entities. Can also, oh yeah, you can also fling yourself a considerable distance, but beware of fall damage. So yeah, you can also fling yourself with this thing as well. I just kind of wanted to show this off before we moved on to some better and greater things. Guys, we have a lot to still cover in this, so I hope you guys are super ready. And let's go ahead and jump in. So I think today we should probably start looking forward and start getting some things processed that we're going to need. And that is going to be Draconium. So we have tons and tons of Draconium right now, but we really do need to get this stuff processed and get a lot more of these things going. So I'm going to go ahead and just jumpstart that process by throwing all this in here manually. I did go ahead and process some emeralds. This needs to be set on furnace. And I believe that the reason this doesn't push out immediately to an adjacent chest is probably to help a little bit with lag on servers and things like that. I think that's how this is functioning. Otherwise, it'd be pushing one item at a time, and that could inevitably cause some tick lag. But it does seem, once it does get full, it stops for just a brief second and then dumps one of these stacks. As you can see right there, it just pulls every now and then. And that's exactly what I want. That's just fine. That's going to help reduce lag overall. Also, having a little bit of dark steel and stuff in here is going to help with our output, which is going to be great. I'm going to go ahead and throw these in here. But yeah, Draconium is definitely something that we're going to be needing a lot of, because I want to start working on this infusion crafting injector. And so we're going to work on that here in a second. I also wanted to show you guys the dyeing machine. Now, I tend to show this every now and then, because it's kind of one of those things that's just kind of out there, right? That some people might enjoy, some people might not, but I find this thing absolutely hilarious, the stuff that you can do with it. So, say you have this. Let's go ahead and get some lapis. I'm going to use light blue dye because I think that might help a little bit more. But what you can do is you can place this thing down. It doesn't really matter where you place it. I'm going to place it over here. Doesn't need power or anything. But what you can do is you can throw your tools in here. Now, I know you can dye this tool. I don't know if it'll work with the Tinkers. It does. So you can sit there and literally dye any of your tools, any color that you so see fit. You want some different color carrots, you can do that. If you want to change the color of your armor, so say I want this to be black. So let's grab some ink sacks. Actually, let's see. Get a little bit of black dye here. If I want to change my armor, I don't know, to maybe be black or a darker color. I can do that. I don't remember. Yes, this one actually shows up on you. So yes, you can change the color of your armor if you really wanted to. And yes, we could have some dark colored armor now. And it doesn't really affect anything, just changing the color. How cool is that? Look at that. Now we have some like dark purple armor going on. And yes, you could do this with just about anything. If I want to change my controller, my wireless crafting grid, I can make that dark as well. Yeah, if you have specific items that you want to color code to mark that they're yours without renaming them, you can do that as well. I just wanted to show off the dyeing machine. It is super cool and fun to play around with. It's definitely fun on multiplayer servers. So if Random Things, I believe that's what it's from, is in a pack that you're playing on a server, have fun with that, because that is a fun thing to mess around with. So I have a ton of diamonds to break through, and I was kind of thinking, what would be the best way to get the max amount of diamonds out of the ore that we have? And I think that's probably going to be with a Fortune 3 enchant, but a Fortune 3 enchant on a special type of tool. That being a Mattock. This guy is really cool, and we should be able to slam a Fortune 3 enchant onto this thing. There we go. And I guess use a wand, a builder's wand. I guess we already have one on us. To pillar up and do this thing that is so satisfying. This right here is super satisfying. I hope we get an entire inventory full of this after doing this. We have to. Like, we'll have to have an... There's no way. This should at least, at the minimum, triple for most. It's a 25% chance with the sag mill. So I figured this is probably the best way to do it, because I'm pretty sure it's a higher chance. I don't know. But I always feel like this would be better. The reason I'm going with this tool is because it does a 3x3. It's very fast. And it has a lot of durability, so we shouldn't have any problem getting through this. There we go. Wow, that was perfect amount. So yeah, we should be able to just press on and look at all that experience. We already have almost a stack and a half. We are losing some. I should probably activate my magnet. Now we won't lose any. And yeah, we'll just go through this. I bet efficiency probably would have been a little bit better to add to this. Oh yeah, efficiency would have been way better. But still, this is mining through this so well. So we were very close. It was almost an entire inventory full. Still, well worth it. Oh, man, that was what I wanted to see. And we got quite a bit of these rare earths, which is going to be used in Thaumcraft later on. Alright, so with that done, I did go ahead and set up some automation in our system to be able to craft these basic fusion injectors. So let's go ahead and see. Basic fusion injectors. Technically we need 9 of them to get started. So let's go ahead and craft 9. Look how fast that was. That's insane. The people that were complaining to me saying this system is slow is crazy. That's absolutely ridiculous. It's so fast. Alright. I think we are running out of power here. That's because this isn't actually hooked to my main power grid. It's actually hooked directly to this. So there's no way this is able to keep up with the power demands. So we might actually need to get a... Let's see. Speaking of power anyways, we are going to need to upgrade to the advanced power cell. So while we're here, we might as well make a couple of the power cells, as we're going to need a few of them. And I'm hoping that going to an advanced one will just give us that little bit extra oomph. So we have this. I'm going to need 2 of these. Now, one of these I'm going to upgrade. To do that, I'm going to need dimensional shards from RF tools. And it looks like we have a bit, like a couple different types of dimensional shards. This also is another thing that will be good to use fortune on. So let's go ahead and do that. For the amount that we have anyways. We'll use fortune on this. Dimensional shards are amazing. They're definitely something that RF Tools uses to sort of upgrade its machines. So it's definitely used. It's also used to make infused diamonds, which is what we're going to need to be doing. So let's go ahead and throw these in. And let's see, power. We're going to be making the advanced. As you can see, to upgrade these, we just need infused diamonds. 4 of them. And then we can do this. We also need some more redstone. There we go. And we have an advanced power cell. So over here, I'm just going to use a basic power cell. I'm going to go ahead and just break this cable. And then we'll replace this with just a normal power cell for right now. Set that's out. I'll go down here. Copy this, link, and link this one as well. Perfect. We've done this so many times, it should be pretty simple at this point. But over here is going to be a different story. I want to make sure that if I set this to out and I set this to link. Okay, so you can see right here, this has a max output of 20,000 RF. We're not limited anymore to the 5,000, but we're still connected to the same network. And I think this, I don't remember if this one has a larger buffer or not, or it still just adds to that extra million. But still, this allows us to export more power and also put more power into this thing as well, which is really good, really great. So when it comes to setting this guy up, which is going to be our basic infusion crafting or basic fusion crafting injector, we're going to have to jump into Draconic, and the main block we are going to need is a fusion crafting core. So we should be able to make this with no problems. Let's go ahead and grab the stuff we need. This is going to be 4 blocks of lapis, a core, and some nether stars, which we have so many of. I still hope this is enough. We have 1,600 of them, so hopefully that's enough. We'll find out later on. All right, so let's go ahead and get this set up. I am going to go ahead and I guess be right here. We'll set this power guy up top. I'm going to go ahead and get some energy conduits laid out. Actually, we're going to break that because I'm going to do my energy conduits sort of like this around this thing and then leave that in the center. And this is this actually off? No, it's just right where it needs to be. So right here, I'm going to place this just to have a block to place on. I'm going to place this 1 block above the ground. And then I'm going to place my crafting injectors looking down. This might be a weird setup, but I feel like it kind of gets everything out of the way. You're still getting everything powered. And there we go. And everything's set up. And this will work with this. So what do we need to do with these basic, and what can we actually do with these basic fusion injectors? So let's go ahead and take a look. Right here, we can use them to upgrade into the Wyvern, right? But we also need a Wyvern core. This right here says basic tier. This is a custom recipe. These are basic. So the main thing we can use, these basics for, is to craft Wyvern cores. Now this isn't a normal thing that you would have. I believe this is a full custom recipe, but this should definitely work, and we're going to go ahead and get this started. So eventually we should be able to fully automate this, but for right now, let's go ahead and try this out. It will require, it says 9 million RF per. So we are going to run into a bit of a power struggle, I believe, as we move into this. And I'll be able to sort of help get our power situation back where it needs to be very soon. I think we're going to be working with some really interesting power setups in the near future. So Draconic core, we need 4 or 5 of those and 2 Draconic blocks. So we need 5 of these. Let's go ahead and get started with that. 2 blocks. And I believe it was 2 nether stars and a block of emeralds. So 2 nether stars, emeralds. Good old fancy block. So to place these in, we're going to do these one at a time. one here and here. 2 of these, like so. I'm going to go ahead and start off. I think these might be set to single item. No, they are not set to single item. So if I set this to single item, you can see we can only put one in at a time. Later on, we can change this back. It just makes the crafting a little bit easier. So once we have all the ingredients in, you can see that that required 9 of these. We can then put the block of emerald in and hit start. And we're basically going to be utilizing most of our power. And it does seem like these conduits do work pretty well. It's not the fastest in the world, but it is going to get the job done. And you can see we now have crafting, fusion and crafting starting. And I love the sound. There we go. And I mean, that's honestly the gist. Like, that's for the most part what this is. This is the fusion crafting in a nutshell. Really cool. All the popping. Alright, and there we go. We have a Wyvern core. Unfortunately, we're going to need a lot of Wyvern cores later on. I just kind of wanted to show off what it's going to take to actually get this thing. And kind of put that in perspective of why we're going to need to set up some more automation things in relation to this Wyvern core. So we kind of have Draconium covered, as we are producing tons of that. Gold, however, is not coming in that fast, nor is diamond. Diamond is not used as much, but gold is still used quite a lot. So I'm thinking about replacing this with one that's going to pull in more gold. So if I take a yellow dye, and I go ahead and nab this guy, I should be able to recolor this to yellow. And that should help more gold type stuff come in, gold colored items. Overall, that should help a little bit. Also, probably getting another laser set up in our world would actually be pretty good as well. Now, if we were going to automate this, this is where the single item sort of comes in handy. You notice whenever I would shift right click on these, it would say single item mode activated. Well, you could put stacks of items in here. And those stacks of items you can just let them do their autocraft and set up a hopper and stuff on this. Just as long as you're not blocking the direct path to this thing. So right with this setup, you can't set a hopper on the top. You have to put a hopper on the side and a hopper on the bottom with this particular setup, because you don't want anything to block this block from seeing this. But yeah, you could totally automate this with very little stuff. Actually, you could probably do a couple of chests right here, and input chests and output chests right here, and just use some conduit, or whatever you feel like you want to do. Now, conduit also will work for automating this up here. Now, keep in mind, we'd probably have to move this up one block and then utilize these conduits for that. Right now, we're not going to worry about that. We're going to do that in a future episode. I just sort of wanted to at least get the crafting injectors up so we can start taking a look at what it's going to take for these Wyvern. Now, this Wyvern is going to be used to upgrade to the next tier. And this is only going to require one Wyvern core. So technically, we might be able to start the upgrade process, as I'm only going to need 9 of these, I believe. 9 Wyvern cores. But you can see the RF cost is going to continue to go up. I actually need to check. Over here I can kind of check. So I still think we're doing pretty good on the RF front, right? So I'm going to go ahead and get the process started. I think if I do the calculations, I should be able to get the right amount of Wyvern cores. And I'll let you guys know what all the calculations are once I get those prepared. So after all the calculations, it seems like I'm going to need 40 of our cores, and then we needed 16 of the nether stars, 16 of the draconium, and then of course 8, because we only need to make 8 more to be able to start the upgrade process on our draconic infusion injectors. Now, the thing is, we're going to need to automate this. So I don't want to set here and just manually click start every time. Well, you can activate this with a redstone clock. So there are several different types, but of course I really love this one as it's super easy to make. And all we got to do is pop that on the side, and that will activate it. And then we have a hopper down here that whenever this is finished crafting this right here, it'll automatically put it into the hopper, and then this will drop our emerald block, and then the next one will start. It looks like it already fed all the emerald blocks in here, which works just fine, as you can see. But yeah, we just kind of have to wait at this point and hope we have enough RF, because I think this is going to consume close to 9 million each. So it could be a bit. So here we are, ready to go and upgrade these things. And we should have pretty much everything ready to go. Look at that. And all we got to do now is break one of these, because the next crafting step is only going to require 8, and we're going to have to do it step by step. That is pretty much how we always do this. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. All right, so here is our infusion injector. We'll be upgrading it to this guy. We are going to need some more draconic cores. We should need 9 of them. So 9 times 2 is going to be 18. So, quick maths. Let's see, 18. Should have plenty for that. There's all 18. We're also going to need 9 of the Draconian blocks. So, 9 of these. Gotta love the auto crafting. It's so nice. And when it comes to our nether stars, we're going to need 36 of those. Nether stars. 36. Perfect. All right. And now all we have to do is kind of split these up so that way we can start upgrading this. Now, power-wise, it's going to be a lot better than our last craft that we did. And we can't really fully automate this one. So we'll have to keep that in mind. Let's go ahead and drop this in here. I'm just going to kind of go ahead and get this started. This was 2 of these, if we remember correctly. You can see we can actually stack these in here, because we'll be moving these around later on. It's better to build them in your inventory, and then it'll just automatically pop into place. Hit that Wyvern core, and next we're going to drop this in, hit the start, or this will probably automatically start it, and there we go. We are going to be upgrading these into our Wyvern fusion injectors. And this is exactly what we want, because we can't really do anything until we get into the Wyvern tier. So it's going to take a bit of time, and I'm going to get these all upgraded, and we should be ready to go. Well, our last one is done right there, and we now have 9. Now, I don't know if later on we're going to have to make more of these. There's a very good chance that we're going to have to make more of these. Right now, this is set to only 9, but I have played packs where they require 10 and so on. I've played packs where they required 49 of them. We'll have to see as we move on, but I do want to kind of talk about our next move. And I think next episode is going to be all about power, because we need to store tons of it. And I mean tons of it. Because if you're going to look here, if we take a quick look here, if we go into what it takes to make Awakened Draconium, right? An Awakened Draconium, I believe you can make nuggets with this, but it requires like a tier 6 crafting seed, which, yeah, is pretty ridiculous in itself. But to make the heart, or to get ourselves blocks of Awakened Draconium, we need 700 million RF. That's right, 700 million. And I think that's where we are potentially going to get into the Wyvern storage and start storing our power a little bit differently. Now that we have our Wyvern tier stuff, we can sort of do that, because as you can see, this is a custom recipe. So this is going to require us to kind of dive through this mod even more. And I believe there's more to this. We have these 2 things. Oh, we can't actually make this until we already have Awakened Draconium. Oh my gosh. Okay, so next episode is definitely going to be focused on how we can potentially store that large, that amount of RF. We can generate that amount of RF, no problem. It's the storage of that amount of RF that we're going to have to figure out. And I believe that this is going to be pretty challenging since we cannot make the Draconic Evolution power storage just yet, because the main block is the energy core. And as you can see, you can't get that until you have full Draconic infusers. And that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of them. So we still have one more injector to make, which is what I thought we might have to do. But anyways, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. If you did, don't forget to click that subscribe button if you haven't already, and also ring that notification bell. It helps out a lot, and you guys will be able to be notified just in case you miss an episode. Also, if you haven't thumbed up the video, I highly recommend doing that as well, as I would really appreciate it. Guys, I'll see you in the next episode, and as always, thanks for watching.